Welcome to the Butler Esports interview series, where we're going to be interviewing sports leaders, owners, and industry experts about the evolving world of esports. Our first interview this week is with Ed Carpenter. Ed Carpenter is an IndyCar racer and owner of Ed Carpenter Racing, and he is also a prestigious Butler Alum. Go Dogs! 2003. In a normal year, Ed and his team would be coming off the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. However, all in-person competitions have been canceled due to COVID-19, as many of us know. So IndyCar, like many other sports organizations, are jumping into the virtual world with an iRacing series. And Ed, you just completed an event this past weekend. So can you tell us a little bit about it and about iRacing in general?
Yeah, so I had been off of iRacing for about 10 years. I think I first downloaded it late 2010, early 2011. Played it for about a year, just casually for fun. And then at that time, my wife Heather and I had one kid, had a second one, and really kind of just didn't have the time to really invest in it anymore. So I put all my stuff away, and then fast forward 10 years and COVID-19 hits, and everyone's trying to do everything they can. So IndyCar set up a virtual series with of iRacing, and I missed the first event at Watkins Glen, but I watched it and I was inspired, and I was like, well, I got all my stuff in the attic still. I'll get it all out. So I got my stuff set up and realized that my computer was no good for iRacing anymore because everything's advanced so far. So went out, bought a new computer, ran one event with my old wheel and pedals. This week I've upgraded to new pedals, still using the wheel, converted to using some Oculus VR Rift goggles for now, but I've got some Pimax 5Ks on the way. So excited about that, getting into it. You know, it's something that I was away from. You know, I didn't think I was going to want to do it, but, you know, really just felt like I needed to get involved. You know, I was picking up a lot of momentum, and we need to provide something to all the IndyCar fans, race fans out there, really anybody to tune in and watch something other than the news. And also it's a great way for us to try to provide a creative way to still give some value to all our team sponsors, Air Force, Jumbo, Direct Supply, and all the others. So it's fun. You know, I'm getting into it again. We raced Barber last weekend. It was my goal to finish. I didn't expect to be fast in that one. We made it to the end, and getting ready for Michigan this weekend, which we don't race at anymore in real life. Used to race there, but I'm pretty excited to actually out for practice race with most of the field, and I think it'll be pretty exciting if we can not have too many yellows.
Yeah. So, you know, you talked about your rig a little bit, how you have it set up here. What's the competition like? You know, does everyone use the same stuff, or are people using all different kinds of equipment? And does that impact it, in your opinion?
So yeah, everyone's using all sorts of different stuff. Like Connor Daly, my teammate, one of my drivers, he's got like a Logitech G29 wheel and pedals mounted to a glass desk sitting on an IKEA chair. Then you've got people with very nice rigs. Some guys are using 3 screens, 1 screen, VR. Equipment definitely makes a big difference. You know, I went back and did some laps at Barber now that I got my new pedals, and like I can break 100 feet deeper everywhere just from having a better, more realistic pedal. So, you know, trying not to go crazy and break the bank upgrading this, but also, you know, I'm a competitor and want to do the best job I can for the team, albeit in iRacing. So, you know, trying to put in the work and take it seriously. And I can't do my normal job as a race driver right now. So I physically training in the mornings like I always do from home, and then kind of do iRacing as much as I can the rest of the day, in addition to trying to help with homeschooling and around the house with the family.
That's awesome. Has this been the only platform that you've used to like virtually race? I know there are other racing games like Forza per se out there.
I've played Forza a little bit on Xbox. My boys like that a lot, but I just really play with them. I've never raced online with that. You know, I am familiar with simulation. We use a driver in the loop simulator with our race team in Chevrolet. That's really unbelievable how far that technology's come. So, I would say that helps jumping back into iRacing just because I'm used to that. But when we're doing that, we're in virtually a real car physically when we do it. But no, I mean, this is really, it had been a pretty long time since I had done sim racing competitively.
Yeah. So what was your first thought when you were done with this event? Like, what was your reaction? Obviously, you said you did better than you thought.
Well, I finished. I didn't say I did better than I thought. I think we finished 17th, but my thought was I got a lot of work to do. I don't want to keep finishing 17th. So, hopefully all of them, the racing sims, survival is a big part of it just because there are no repercussions. If you crash, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost any money to fix your car. So guys are a little crazy. So you got to be careful to take care of your stuff. But, I want to get better and better. I want to be competitive, just like in the car. I log on to win, and that's the goal.
So you log on to win. Who are you trying to beat? Who are the big competitors? Who are the teams to beat?
I mean, Sage Karam has done a lot of iRacing and competes all the time. He's probably got the most experience when it comes to road course racing, but Will Power's taken to it quick. Scott McLaughlin. The oval race, I think, really is going to open it up to a lot of guys because it's a little less technical from the simulation side. It kind of nullifies some of the equipment. If you have better brake pedals, better steering wheel, etc. So I think this one's going to be whoever's got a healthy car at the front. We only get one auto repair in this race. So going to have to stay up front, keep it clean, and anybody can have a chance to win it. Hopefully it's us.
Yeah. So what kind of preparation do you do to get ready for these competitions? How much time do you spend practicing and that kind of stuff?
That I was probably practicing a little more last week at Barber because I had so much to learn, and you can really, even if you're in a room by yourself, you can push yourself and learn a lot. With Michigan, it's much more about drafting and tire dag and things like that. So I've really, they have kind of published group sessions every day for the guys that are in our league. So I try to get in a couple hours of those a day minimum right now. So I'll probably ramp it up again a little more time tomorrow, just leading in. I think we have 2 mandatory sessions tomorrow. So I'll probably try to get in a little outside of that, even if I'm in my own room to practice on some qualifying stuff. But yeah, as long as if I log in and there's people in the room, I'll run. If there's not people there, I won't run too much, and I'll just go play board games and do other quarantined activities.
Do you think that this is going to be a replacement for people, not for physical racing, but for practice per se? Do you see this as a tool that people could use to get ready for a physical race?
I think so. It is good for some things. The graphics and everything, the track layouts are so perfect now that for getting kind of the visuals and flow, timing, rhythm, going to an event, there's value. And I think a lot of drivers will probably continue playing just because they're going to get enjoyment out of it and get hooked from this time that this is what we are doing and how we are competing as professionals. So yes and no. I mean, we've used the driver in the loop stuff progressively more and more since like 2013 with the team. So when those facilities are all closed right now too, so when those come online again, probably sometime in May, we'll be going and getting out and doing that again, which will take time away from the ability to do iRacing competitions, etc. But I do think you'll see more people doing it. I think iRacing itself has seen a lot of new subscribers just from our races being televised, NASCAR races being televised, World of Outlaws. There's a bunch of series running iRacing events on TV or broadcast on the web. So it's definitely introducing, the sport from a PC sim racing standpoint to a whole new audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that topic of the simulation, the graphics and everything, what do you think it gets right and what do you think it gets wrong when it comes to this racing experience?
Visually, I think it's all right. I think the hardest part to is just the physically driving and the feel and the car model, the tire models, the engine models, the aerodynamic model. iRacing's only going to be able to take it so far because they're Firestone's not going to give them proprietary information. They're not having all the correct aero data, so for them it's just the modeling aspect and how much info you actually had from the real cars. And that's the big step from this to the simulation we use, the driver in the loop simulators we use as teams, is we've got all those things modeled out. We have our own dampers on the car, tire models. Chevrolet provides us with an engine map for those. So everything's identical to the performance capabilities of the cars we're racing, where iRacing just doesn't have that level of precision, but for not having it, they do a very good job of getting extremely close. So, if you're a race fan that wants to get an idea what it does feel like to race our cars, it's in the window of what we do, but it's just a lot of little things that are still a little different, maybe where the driving style is a little different in the iRacing platform relative to real life. But that's always going to be the case. It takes a long time for the simulation to fully catch up to reality, but it's coming.
So we'll talk about what's coming. Like, what do you think the next step or the future of iRacing is, and in your mind, as someone who is competing in this?
I think just getting more info out of the teams, and it may happen from this collaboration with the IndyCar series and iRacing. They're working hand in hand to make this the best product we can. So that may allow them to get some more relevant information from Firestone and Chevrolet and Honda and IndyCar and Dallara that makes our cars to maybe improve their models a little bit. Maybe they'll always be a step behind of the real cars, just from how we have to protect our IP of the rate of development. But at least a year or so, they may be able to close up like a year behind instead of a couple years behind.
Yeah. So, you talked about someone who's not a racer wanting to get that racing experience. Like, what are the hurdles that, say, like I have no racing experience, would have to jump through to start like getting into iRacing?
It's pretty easy. The biggest thing is having a computer that can meets their minimum requirements, which I think is Windows 8, and I can't remember all the specs of what graphics cards you need, but you can get a $700-800 gaming computer that will run it. And you can get a wheel and pedals for $150, and the iRacing service itself is only like $13 a month to be on their service. From that, you do have to purchase tracks and cars and different things you need to use, which are all around $12 to $15, I think. So relative to what it costs us to go racing, you can do it quite economically.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially right now, right? Everyone's saving money, but it's a good way to get involved.
Yeah.
So you'd spoken about everyone, you doing this for the fans and you providing stuff and getting involved with the communities. Is the community embracing it? Is other racers, other teams jumping in on it like you have? And
yeah, I think the whole series is taking it seriously. I know from a marketing and communication standpoint, IndyCar's having nearly daily calls with all the team marketing and PR reps, and a lot of the race teams engineers are getting involved. A couple of my engineers are kind of following along with me. We use Discord, an app called Discord, to communicate kind of during the game. So I've got a couple of my engineers that are helping out with some of the in-game strategy, just like we would in a race, and we're using some of the same tools that we use in reality for tire deg, fuel consumption, to analyze what our best strategy options are for the race. I know a lot of teams engineers are getting involved in that way. We are using all fixed setups in the game, so everybody's physical car setup and everything is all the same across the board. So it's really just comes down to driving and strategy and making the right decisions. But we do have team members getting involved for sure.
So from another angle, how have like sponsors reacted to this kind of engagement? Is this something that they were on board with, or they kind of danced around?
It's interesting. I think we've been very fortunate within our team of ECR that all our partners are very understanding that this is an unprecedented time, and we're really rolling with it as things go along. And everyone's been on board with the iRacing platform. I know, like with the U.S. Air Force, for example, a big part of that program is being at venue, at events with the local recruiting squadrons, shaking hands and meeting potential recruits for the Air Force. So in lieu of that, we've done with Connor, who drives the Air Force car for us. He's done some Q&As on his Twitch stream during the events and got some engagement that way, directly with the recruiters, to give them some content to use to try to get people virtually recruiting with their offices. So we're using it and trying to learn week to week and figure out more and more ways that we can, keep expanding on this and getting more value out of it.
So what race, what track are you looking forward to the most? Do you have something in mind?
I think all I know, so we're running Michigan this weekend. We have COTA scheduled, and then there's a Dream Race scheduled, which I think they're letting fans vote on, which is a non-IndyCar track. So right now, Michigan's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
I haven't started practicing or prepping for anything else, but I've never raced at COTA before, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And it'll be a challenge. Like Barber, I'd at least raced a car there, so you know some of the intricacies and things you need to look for out of the track. But Michigan is what I'm looking forward to at the moment.
So we'll switch back to the in real life gears a little bit. So what do you think about the 3 IndyCar races at Indianapolis Motor Speedway right over here this year? And how are people handling kind of the schedule change? I know you spoke to that a little bit.
I think IndyCar's done a really good job communicating with all the teams and letting us know what's going on and the rationale behind all the decisions, and with from working with promoters and the TV networks and everything else, just to try to maximize the calendar once we get going. So it's going to be weird running the Indy 500 in August, but having an Indy 500 anytime is better than not having an Indy 500. So ready to go for that. I think the first road course race that's going to be Brickyard Weekend, July 4th, is going to be really cool to share the weekend with NASCAR. I think it'll provide a really cool experience for the fans to come out and see all sorts of different racing. And then they added a October 3rd race at the road course, so we'll have 2 separate road course races there. And that's just a way to try to, the Speedway is a great asset to the sport and IndyCar. Trying to use it as a tool to make up for other events that couldn't get rescheduled, not only for the team's benefit, sponsors benefit, fans benefit, TV networks, etc. So I'm excited about it. Indianapolis is the best venue we go to. It's a world-class facility, so the more we race there is the better. And I think the 2 road course races are going to be the same layout, but they have the ability to change the layout too. So they can be pretty creative with it and mix it up if they want to.
Now, is the schedule change, and I'm sure it does, put you on a crunch time for preparation? What does that kind of look like?
No, I don't think so right now. I mean, that's where they've done a good job communicating with us, and even though it's fluid and has changed twice already, we know what we're looking forward to. So I think, we'll be able to get the team back to work in enough time to be prepped. They've kind of shelved a couple updates they had coming just to buy the team some more time to get ready for June 6th at Texas. But, we were at St. Pete ready to race. So we've just got to change some of the flow and change some of the cars around. But, the reality is we could get back in the shop and go race the next week and be ready to go. So, all engineers and a lot of the teams still working from home and progressing with preparation for the next events. And we'll be ready whenever they turn us loose.
Yeah. So last question. So we've started this series. In your opinion, who are 2 sports leaders, owners, industry experts that you think we should interview?
I think Doug Bowles would be a good one, who's the president of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, another Butler alum. So you might be able to hook him into it. I think he'll have an interesting perspective as a track president, with how they're using and trying to leverage esports, as well as, changing the schedule and dealing with this whole pandemic. I think he would be an interesting one. You know, I don't know outside of that. Maybe get Brad Stevens in here to get a little NBA perspective on the challenges they're dealing with. And I know they're not really doing as much as a league with esports right now, but I'm kind of surprised that they haven't embraced that a little more to fill in the end of their season. But those would be my two suggestions.
Cool.
And I think you can track both of them down.
Oh, I think we're going to get pretty good at that here soon. But that's all I got. I thank you for your time today. Thanks for doing an interview remotely with us.
Nice to meet you, and
nice to meet you.
Thanks for the swag.
Butler
I like
Esports.
it. I wore this during the barber event last weekend, so
Sweet.
I probably won't wear it because I don't like wearing a hat with the VR headset on, but I'll have it close by.
Perfect. Well, we wish you the best on and off the track. Obviously, stay healthy, stay safe, and where can we witness this racing that's going on right now?
Where can you witness it?
Yeah, well, maybe witness isn't the right word. Where can we watch?
So our race will be on NBC Sports this weekend for Michigan. I believe 2:30 is the TV window start. It's also streaming on IndyCar.com as well. Some drivers have Connor Daly has a Twitch stream. Some guys have YouTube streams going. But for sure, tune into the NBC Sports broadcast. That's going to do more to help our sport sponsors to drive those TV numbers up.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be watching. This is very interesting. Again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you. Go Dogs.
Nice to meet you. Go Dogs.